Alright, maybe you just finished watching the first in this series about using for loops, loops in general, and sequences. And today, this lesson, we're going to do geometric sequences with for loops. And here is the definition of a geometric sequence. The ratio of successive terms is a constant called the common ratio. And you see here a sub 1. This is the a sub n's, and when n is 1, a sub 1 is 2, a sub 2 is 4, a sub 3 is 8. So here our common ratio: 4 divided by 2 is 2, 8 divided by 4 is 2, 16 divided by 8 is 2, 32 divided by 16 is 2. So our common ratio here is 2. If that's the case, if we have the a sub 1 and r, we can generate any nth term of a geometric sequence using this formula. And as we found in loops and sequence number 1, we can use for loops to quickly generate these sequences. So let's do it. We're going to create a new program. So we just did for arith. If you watched the first video, now we're going to do for geo. So I'm going to create a new program. Call it for geo. And as always, I'm going to put in my first 3 lines. I like to have a clear home. I like to tell people who is writing this program. So I'm going to say, by me, the math prophet. You should enter your own hacker name there if you've come up with one. And then I'm going to pause the program. And sometimes people get confused waiting for the pause. So I like to tell people to press enter. Press enter. ER, that's how you spell enter. Alright, now we need 3 pieces of information from the user. We need a sub 1, we need r, and we have to know how many terms they want. So just like in for arith, we have this almost exactly the same. So we're going to have them input the first term, which we're going to call A1. A1. And remember, I use the equal sign, which is under the test. So second math A1 equals with a question mark. I've been noticing that one of the mistakes my students have been making is that they fail to put this closed quotation mark here before they store it in a variable. So A, I'm going to input. Now here's everything you have done so far is the same as the for arith, except for this line. There's only 2 lines that are different. And so that's why in a couple of lessons I'm going to stop doing both of them and assign you to do the second program, but I'm going to baby steps here. So now instead of inputting common difference, I'm going to ask for the common ratio. And here, this is common ratio, which is R. So I'm going to store that in R. And then I still need to ask the number of terms. So that line is not different. I'm going to go num terms, close quotation, comma, and I'm still going to store that in n. So you can see the only line that's different is instead of common difference, I'm asking for common ratio. Now I'm going to start my for loop. 4 is number 4, of course. 4. Remember my variable is I, and I'm going to start it at 1, and I'm going to go to however many terms the user told me they want, which is n. So everything's the same so far, except for common ratios, common difference, and instead of d, it's r. So here I have a different formula. So instead of display the arithmetic sequence term, I'm going to display the geometric sequence term. So now we have A times R. Now, some students might be confused on how to get this in here. It's the house symbol, or the caret, and you need to use parentheses. So here, instead of n, this is going to be our counter, so we're going to use I minus 1, close that, and then I'm going to end it. Now I want you to see that there's only 2 lines that are different. I'm really emphasizing this point because I'm going to have the gradual release of responsibility. From common ratio, from common difference I went to common ratio, and from the arithmetic sequence term I went to the geometric sequence term. The last thing I want to do here is talk about what is this going to do. Now when I is 1, 1 minus 1 is 0. Anything raised to the 0 power except for 0 is 1. So we have 1 times A, which will give us always the first term. And then when it'll go I is 2, 2 minus 1 is 1, it'll be R times A, and then R squared times A, and so on. Let's try to recreate this sequence using my new program. So I'm going to quit, I'm going to go to Program, I'm going to execute for Geo. A sub 1 in this case is 2. The common ratio, we said 4 divided by 2 is 2, 8 divided by 4 is 2, 16 divided by 8 is 2. So the common ratio is 2, and I want 5 terms. So I have 2, 4, 8, 16, 32, 2, 4, 8, 16, 32. There we go. So now you know how to use for loops to create arithmetic and geometric sequences. Now we're going to see if we can do some more complicated things in the future.